Good evening, everyone. It's Nick here, and this evening I'll be reviewing the first two episodes of the new CBS show Star Trek Discovery. Woo! We have a new Star Trek. Is it worth getting excited about? Is it not worth getting excited about? Well, a bit of both, I would say, actually. Firstly, CBS is the channel that is airing this right now, and actually they're the ones who put up all the money. It's a relatively new channel. So CBS All Access, I think it's called, showed the first episode for free to try and entice people, and then you have to pay $10. You have to sign up to be able to watch the second episode. Now, this is a model that I think we're going to have to get used to. We already have the big guys out there like Hulu, Amazon, and Netflix. It's a pity Netflix weren't able to grab this and just distribute it themselves, but I mean, obviously the rights went to CBS, and so they can do what the hell they want with it. $10 is not particularly a lot of money, if you ask me. I would happily splash that out. Luckily, I don't have to because I've got Netflix and I'm outside of America. Yes, it's only the Americans that have to pay for CBS to watch it. So this is their flagship for not really the launching of their channel, but it's the first show that they've actually created. Not the first show, but it's the biggest show that they've created since like The Good Wife and that spin-off, which wasn't really old property. This is old property since from the 60s. So they're hoping that the fan base, the Star Trek fan base, will be people who will jump on board. I was just looking before I started making this now, and apparently CBS have confirmed that they had more subscriptions and subscribers for their weekly service and for their monthly service on Sunday than ever before. So obviously it worked. Well, it might have also been the NFL football. I was going to say rugby football, where they get 5 channels apparently on the platform. So it could be a bit of both. But either way, they're very, very happy with the number of people who have subscribed, and I'm glad to hear that. I really am. From this today, just looking on Facebook and Twitter, the negative people out there, it's phenomenal. I cannot believe it. But the majority of them are pissed off because CBS are charging them. There are other people. You should hear some of the SJW crap that I've had to read today just in preparation for this, and it is phenomenal. It really is amazing. I'll get to it if I want to later. It's quite a sad state when you have to read some of the shit people write because they've been burnt, that they have to pay for something that they were expecting for free. Get over it, pay for it. People pay for everything. Anyway, so what was the show like? Well, I sat down yesterday afternoon. It happened to be a holiday, Heritage Day in South Africa, and Pop put them on, had a beer next to me, and the first episode starts going along, and yeah, I was quite happy with it. The special effects are phenomenal. They are on a par with anything that Star Trek has done before, and certainly better, especially the external elements. So I'm talking about binary star systems and rocks and things that happen outside the ship. Inside the ship, it's quite nice to see that they're holding on to the old sound effects of the original Star Trek. They are mixing technology up here from the new rebooted movie series, where this takes place in a canon universe, it's slightly different from the canon universe, sorry. So it's a kind of a strange mixture to see people sliding things that you didn't see in the Star Trek, the original series, and this takes place 10 years beforehand. It looks even more advanced than Deep Space Nine, even more advanced than Voyager, as a matter of fact. So it's a weird, jarring feeling for a fan, and I've been a fan since I was 5 years old. So that's quite a strange thing. It kind of makes you wonder, why didn't you just make it take place after Voyager, or after Voyager when they return home safely? So it was a bit of a weird thing there. I don't know if it was necessary to make it a prequel to Enterprise, to the Star Trek original series. So that I'm still unopened. I'm not sure about yet, but we'll see how this goes. It does take place during the famous Klingon War with the Federation, so that's quite exciting. Very dark. This series, at least the first 2 episodes, were certainly darker than most episodes of Deep Space Nine. I have seen episodes that are darker though on Deep Space Nine. So people who are screaming out, going, "Oh, Gene Roddenberry, the big guy in the sky," would hate this. I'm not so sure. Yes, there are certain canon things which have changed, and I'll get to that in a moment, but the tone, no. I mean, he was up for Deep Space Nine way before it even started. He started working on the treatments, and it was always going to be a very dark series with war going on in the background with Dominion, and also even looking at what the Federation were willing to do in order to win. So this is the Federation, a sort of dark Federation in Discovery, and I think for the most part it was well treated in the second part. But the first episode it had big problems with the dialogue for starters. It was quite choppy, didn't feel natural. They would throw things in like, "Hey, do you remember that time 7 years ago when I was an asshole, and then we became really great friends, and now we're just best buddies," And I'm talking about the 2 female leads. I just wanted to have a quick, maybe, 2 incompetent lesbians. That was one comment that I read on the Facebook page. Anyway, we've got Michelle Yeoh and Sonic Martin Green as Philippa and Michael. I keep saying Michelle, respectively. So Michelle is the second in command, what William Riker would be, and Philippa plays, Michelle plays Philippa, who's the actual captain of the Shenzhou. Not quite sure how to pronounce it. I keep seeing the name, it just looks different to me from what I should be saying. Anyway, it's because it's a place in China as well. So, the dynamics between the two in the first half of the first episode, like I say, was very... I would say robotic. They're great actors. I think we can blame the director here, as a matter of fact. I mean, the only experience that he's had before, this is David Semmel, is with NCIS, and so that was quite a weird choice to choose him. In fact, there were problems with producers not wanting to choose him, and so they actually left. So there was some controversy before it even got started. So his directing skills in the first episode not particularly great. He could have got a lot more out of the characters, out of the actors, as a matter of fact, if you just gave them a bit more direction. So I think there was a bit of a problem there. The script had an issue as well. But I do like the way it set it up. It starts on a planet, no spoilers, starts on a planet you've seen in the trailer, a very dust, sort of barren planet, suffering from a major drought. And they help them out, what the Federation is supposed to do. So you do see that element of the Federation that we have all become very accustomed to. Helping people, not breaking the first, the rules of Starfleet is not to go into a place and let the locals know that you have been there, okay? So the Prime Directive has a whole bunch of these directives. Someone did note on Facebook, I think, that they call it something different. They call it the number one directive or something on those. So it's different to what we're expecting. But this is 10 years before Pike and his crew go on the first 5-year mission to explore. So this is not during the exploration stage. We can safely assume that they hadn't fleshed out the policies of first contact at that particular point. So there are probably a couple of them, but maybe we'll see this happen along the series. We'll see. So the first episode is good as well in developing the characters with each other. The new crew is pretty cool. I like all of them. Some interesting things with the engineer. Don't want to break any, any spoilers. So it'll be interesting to see where they take that. So the first episode, like I said, I'll give that probably 6.5, 7 out of 10. There were issues though. We have Sarek and also the relationship with Michael, who is half Klingon and half human, much like her brother Spock. We never knew that she existed, but anyway, apparently she is the sister of Spock. So I didn't like the way that they started that, because it was very similar to Star Trek, the re-energized or the rebooted movie series with Chris Pine. They even had the kids in the little bubbles, but even these were more advanced than his and what we had seen in that particular movie. So I'm not so sure I like the parallels there. It's a little bit too similar to what we have already seen before. Not to mention that there is... I'm really hoping this is not going to be something that they build on, but there seems to be a lot of more magic in this. Like, for example, with Sarek, who's father to both Spock and Michael, that he can now sort of teleport his consciousness across thousands of light years, which we've never seen before. And that is very the Force, if you ask me. Not to mention that, but also, for some strange reason, now we have holograms when they're talking to admirals, which has also never been done. There's always been a computer screen, you look at a computer screen, it hasn't been a Star Wars holographic image standing, and I didn't like that. I don't think there was any reason for it, other than to try and, look cool. So that I wasn't sure with either. I don't think I actually will warm up to that idea. Other things that I wasn't sure we're going to warm up to were things like the new Klingons. Now this, I think, is in a position to really explore their motivations as a sort of warrior race. We start the episode 1, I think it's called Vulcan Voices, with the Klingons. Actually, it starts with the Klingons. The first thing you see and hear are Klingon speaking. It's fantastic that they have all of the Klingon in subtitles, and apparently you can actually also watch it with Klingon subtitles. So if you're watching it, the human speaking, you can actually see what it is in Klingon. You just can change the settings on CBS, which I think is quite a nice little touch there. Anyway, so it starts with the Klingons, and you get to find out a lot about the disunity, disarray of the major houses, the 24 major houses. And so they're trying to bring them back together by having one common enemy. And I think there's going to be a lot of interesting growth over there. Like I said, I don't want to do any spoilers in this. This is not looking at the episodes and giving you all the names and giving you all the characters. This is my impressions of the first 2 episodes. So I think I like that. The ship is huge. Kind of reminds me of Nero from... which one was it? The second Star Trek movie, the Romulan craft. So it's a massive, massive warbird, and it kind of looks similar to ones that come later, not Warbird, what I'm talking about, but the Tolkos, I forget the name of the Klingon craft, but yeah, it looks awesome. Warbirds, of course, would be the Romeos. So it looks pretty good. I like the ship designs, and we get to see quite a few different ships too. That also brings me back to the actual ship, that the Suzhou, or the Shenzhou, sorry. It's a design I've never seen before, so that is definitely breaking canon there, which we've already broken just now with the new Klingon look, which I did get used to. I think it still take me a while to get used to the new Klingon look, because to me there's no reason to change them. We even have a white Klingon now, but I don't want to go into too much into that because that is sort of spoiler territory. So yeah, that was difficult too to wrap my brain around. I mean, I've been a fan of Star Trek, as I say, for a very long time, 33 years or so. So seeing the shifts, which are not new, we had a shift from Star Trek, the original series, to Next Generation. We didn't have a shift from Next Generation to Deep Space Nine or to Voyager, or even going forward but backwards to Enterprise. So I'm not quite sure the motivation behind changing their physical appearance. They still got the bakleth, they talk Klingon, which is great. What's a bit of an issue with the Klingon leader here, with him speaking in Klingon, because everything was clipped sentences. It was like da 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 da. So it felt very weird. It sounded a little bit strange. So I wasn't particularly happy with that either. But I do like the Klingons now. I'm getting kind of used to them after watching the show once or twice. Actually, twice now. So the first episode, okay-ish. Second episode was phenomenal. There's a lot more character development. Oh, goodness me, this bloody hay fever. There's a lot more development between the leads over here, and some shocking things actually happen with our main protagonist, which is Michael. In the old days of Star Trek, and this is probably another reason why people don't like certain elements of this. In the old days of the Star Trek, you would get someone like Picard or Riker. And they would break the Prime Directive, they would break orders that they've been issued from Central Command, from Starfleet Intelligence, from wherever, whatever. And at the end of the episode, because they happened to break those rules, everything went right and everyone's happy now. Now, I'm not giving spoilers away here, but this is a different beast. It's not that 24, 44 minutes of watching a show, then everything falls, happy. As we have been told before, the stories that are taking place here are kind of season long. So the story arcs are not going to be finished at the end of each episode. I'm sure they'll have the occasional monster episode. I'm actually not sure, to be honest. Okay, I'll take that back, because just thinking about it right now, I don't know which direction this is going. I mean, we could spend the entire first season with the war, with the Klingons, and an investigation into all manner of things over there. It's difficult without doing spoilers in this, and I keep catching myself. So yeah, I mean, I can see they can spend the entire time with this war, which has been done before. It's the first time that we've started in a war. With Deep Space Nine, we only had the Dominion War start in season 3, I think it was, which then actually followed all the way through. Now, I have no problem with that. I don't have a problem with this the war situation. People are used to Star Trek as being a sort of exploration thing, but like I said, this takes place 10 years before Kirk, who was the first technically explorer in the team that went out and boldly explored. So they have a lot of options here, I think. And I think with the actors, I mean, as I say, the first episode was a bit slow with the acting. Second episode was brilliant. Really, really loved the lead now. And the other characters too. And I think we can really build off them. So I'm hoping that we're going to get some awesome Star Trek coming up in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. So the negative things on it, as I said to you now, the first start was not the greatest start that they could have done. But then again, I'm being nitpicky, and after 13 years of waiting for this, or 12 years of waiting for this, people are going to pull it apart. There are people going off about the SJW element, which I can't understand. We've already had one Star Trek Voyager with Captain Janeway, so having a lead female is now a bad thing? No, I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. What I will say is, like I say, I've already spoken about the new magic thing with the Vulcans, so I don't really like that. And yeah, like I say, a lot of things have changed here. The designs of the ships have changed quite considerably. The uniforms have changed a hell of a lot. I actually don't have a problem with the uniforms. I don't have the problem with the phasers either. But I do have a problem with some of the ship designs, because everything we've been told in the sort of later series kind of go against this. Like, why are the warp nacelles close to the living quarters? But that's just being real, Trekkie picky over there. So I might go, why? But most people probably won't if they're just getting into the show right now. So it's 3 generations of people who can now get into it. And I really hope people will pick this up and have a run with it. I was hoping that the Orville, for example, was going to be that scratch for my sci-fi fantasy, sci fiction, and it's utter rubbish. I'm sorry. The last episode was not only insulting to gender reassignment people who go through the process, but I'm so tired of the dick joke. It's literally every episode. There's been 3 episodes now for Orville. The first 1 minute, not joking, first minute, there's a dick joke in every single one of them. So I've given up on that. Thank goodness Star Trek can easily step into that. So yes, I highly recommend it, people. We have Netflix outside of America, so it's not going to be a problem if most people have Netflix now. Well, a lot of people have Netflix now, and I think we can I think we can see that we're going to get more exploring not only of the characters, but of the dynamic between the Klingons and the Federation. We don't know exactly how the war ends. I've got a couple of theories, but I'm not going to go into those here. And yeah, I think we have a solid platform here. I mean, like I say, the story is very intense, and I like the fact that it's very intense. Not everything is a happy ending story, as we saw in Deep Space Nine and even Voyager. So yeah, like I say, give it a try. Wait for a couple of episodes. The first episode of Star Trek Next Generation had plenty of issues with it. Okay, Farpoint had lots of problems with directing, with the script writing too, but it ultimately fixed itself after a couple of episodes, and it ran its run, and it re-energized the love for the franchise. So I would give this a couple of more episodes. I suppose the Trekkie me would accept it even if it's rubbish, but I don't think that's the case. Like I say, I tried weathering the storm of Orville just to fill that need, and I rejected that, and that's gone. So enjoy it. Let me know what you think of the show. Oh, before you go, I just wanted to give you a couple of comments from some of these people that like to label this show as being an SJW because there happens to be 2 female strong characters in it. This is from Facebook. It's actually not even from the Discovery Facebook. It's from Space, and they just do a whole bunch of things about space. So they're like, "Who's watched Star Trek?" And of course, got a social commentary of 500 comments with people swearing at each other, calling them quite horrible names. Actually, one from an absolute genius out there contributed to the wonderful world. "You need to know that Discovery has nothing to do with Trek, and is a bunch of SJWs socially engineering the dystopia." I have fucking no idea what that means, but he apparently does, okay? There was the other one, which the stretch of imagination that these guys have. "Incompetent lesbians save the universe for feminism, and transgendered Klingons demand rights to Chakba," or whatever it's called. Neither of that is true, but apparently he thinks it's a bad thing. Now, my favourite one, which is quite long, so bear with me, goes, "Star Trek Discovery, absent a shred of requisite DNA, disappoints on every single cynical, greed-driven level." So he's obviously salty about having to pay to watch it. "Poor folks with lots of money and not a clue. It's about the people, about the heart, about the hope." And you display neither. Well, it's actually all, but neither would just indicate two. "WB acting, clueless writing, flashy CGI ringing false." I also don't know what that means. Flashy CGI would imply good CGI ringing false. Don't know what that means. Sorry, mate. "And devoid of even a hint of soul. This is a certain one Caesar albatross that potentially jeopardizes the franchise for a while at least." Friend, the franchise has been jeopardized for 12 fucking years since Enterprise was cancelled after season 4. So what are you on about there? Anyway, maybe it's another 12 years you need? Somewhere out there, the great bird of the galaxy, this is Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, of course, is shaking his head in disappointment. No, he is not. He's actually probably quite happy about the diversity that has been shown in this. Remember, Star Trek was the first series in America, and I think probably the world, at least broadcast on mass media, in the 60s to have a kiss between a woman of colour and a white man. So no, I'm pretty sure he's happy with the diversity that is being shown in the show. So anyway, that was just a couple of rants there. You can go and Google and see what these crazy guys have to say. But anyway, look, see you guys out there, and I'll probably post something each week about each episode of Star Trek that will include spoilers. But until then, have a great evening, everyone.